If you're listening, you're going to die.
Is your soul? Something dark and scary.
The Slender Man, my story. This didn't happen far from home. It actually happened right behind our home, in the forest. I remember sleeping in the attic with my cousin. I was a little freaked from earlier. My friends told me about this man that comes around kidnapping children, and that you should never be out late because of him. They called him the Slender Man. Tap, tap, tap. I sat up quickly, bumping my head in the process. Then it came again. Tap, 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 but louder that time. I looked around, freaked out. It sounded like it was coming in all directions. It was like a roar that only I could hear. No one else was coming up, and my cousin wasn't waking up from it. I had no idea what was going on. My vision was the darkest, black. I couldn't see anything. I looked all around. I couldn't even see my hands when they were in front of my face. Trying not to bump the very close ceiling, I rubbed my head and listened closely for any other sign of something tapping. Nothing. I slowly reached over beside me for my flashlight and gleamed it right into where it had sound loudest. Something flashed for a second, then disappeared. My heart pounding. I moved the flashlight all around, making the room look very gloomy in comparison. Landing my flashlight just above where my cousin's face should be, she was there. I calmed for a few seconds when it came again. This time, it was more like a cackle, like a witch laughing through her nose. Evil. My light began to fade, so I quickly shook my cousin. She opened her eyes, barely, then closed them, just barely whispering, "What?" I looked at her in disbelief, and then sighed. "You didn't hear any of that, did you?" She nodded her head side to side slightly, then said, "Heard? What?" I brought up my flashlight a little from her face, then swiftly glanced it about the room. Bringing it back down, I replied, finally, "That cackle-like noise and the thumping, it woke me up." She snorted barely, then whispered under her sleepy voice, "It was probably your imagination. Go back to sleep." Sighing, I dropped my head back down with little to no reassurance, and then I fell asleep. The smell of meat cooking and the sound of mashed potatoes mashing awoke me from my daydream. I was a little shaken up from the earlier part of the day, but I just let it go to the back of my mind and rushed towards the dinner table. Sitting at the dinner table, we ate and spoke. Then a strange conversation had started from my cousin randomly joking about the tales the old people at her village talked about, making my mind wander to the deep abyss of my mind. And then I spoke up about the tall tale the other children told me about. They scoffed at me, then asked my cousin to go out to the well and fetch a pail of water, for we had ran out. I got a little uneasy about that, but of course they laughed it off, then sent her out. I sat there uneasy for what felt like hours. Then a blood-curdling scream pierced the air. We all got up in caution, then ran out, unsure of what we would find. We ran all the way out to the well. Nothing. There was nothing there, no trace that any human had been there not 2 seconds ago, besides a swinging pail still hooked onto the well. I was there, I was the only one that saw it. A strange dark shape, about 9 feet tall, distorting the trees and making everything look weird there. I knew it. The Slender Man was real, and it had taken my cousin. She was never seen again.